Today, we're gonna take on the task of making chicken soup. You're watching the Bear Pantry Show. So this is all we need to make chicken soup. I went to the store and I picked up a pack of just thighs, and it's not the boneless, skinless type, okay? It has the bone and it had the skin, but I took the skin off. I washed it in some vinegar, some distilled white vinegar and water, and I put salt and black pepper and ricotta. And now I'm getting my pot hot on the stove so we can get the soup started. So here's my big 5 or 6 quart pot. I forgot what size this pot is, but it's pretty big. If you see those little specks of thing inside the pot, that's actually how the pot's made, okay? It's supposed to be some kind of marbling type thing. I kind of like this pot a lot. It's kind of thick. And so I'm just going to go ahead because my oil is getting hot. I put about 4 tablespoons of oil. Go ahead and just put these big pieces of thighs right in here in the hot oil. We might not be able to fit them all at the same time. Let's see. What we want to do first to the chicken thighs is make them brown. So let's see if we can fit them all. This is just one big pack that was like almost $5 for the pack. You don't want to double stack them, okay? I tried to describe that in my cookbook, that you don't want to double stack like that while you are browning the chicken. You want all the pieces to be touching the bottom of the pot because that's what will make it brown in the oil. So we're going to leave that there for a few minutes, maybe 3 to 5 minutes, and we're going to make it get goldeny brown on one side, and then we're going to flip it on the other side, and then we're going to show you what happens afterwards. So I'm turning the thighs over to the other side because the first side already got brown. It's real goldeny. I'll show it to you in a second, but I wanted to let you guys know that because it's a rainy, dreary day today, I'm going to go ahead and make a second video along with this one. And the second video is going to be for powder buns, and it's going to be version 2, okay? Because I already have another version up at the site. So the second side is already browned. It only took like 3 minutes on each side, you guys. Look how beautiful it looks. And the reason that I'm doing thighs instead of other chicken parts, and you can totally do chicken soup off of a whole chicken and use all the parts, but the reason I'm doing thighs is because thighs have more fat on them and they release more gravy. So at this point, I'm going to add the marinade. If you hear that door, that's the dog's kind of afraid because there's a thunderstorm going on right now. So they're banging at the door. So I add the leftover marinade that was in the bowl, and I'm adding a lot of water, okay? Because when I do the stews, I tell you don't do this because we're not making soup. Well, today we are making soup. So I'm going to add more water up to about here. So I filled up this cup at least 4 times already. This is like the 5th time. And we could actually even put more because we want a big pot of soup. This is about 10 cups of water that I added to the pot with just the thighs. And you can see it looks kind of foamy on the top. And this is essentially what broth is. You know, I know a lot of people that make soups and stuff and they buy broth in that box or in the can. You know, I don't like to do anything like that because it has preservatives and MSG in it, right? And so basically this is broth. Like if you wanted to do a broccoli cheese soup, you would skim this off the top. You would let this boil for like 10 or 15 more minutes, and you would get all this water off of this meat, and that's what you would use for your base for like a broccoli cheese soup and stuff. I'll show you how to do that sometime in the future. But for right now, we're doing just basic Belizean chicken soup, and we're just going to let this cook for about a half hour. Then we're going to come back and add whatever we can find in the pantry. And sometimes there's not much that you can find, and so basically you literally put what you can find. Okay, for all of you who love the rain, it's the first rain of the season after the summer ended here in Southern California. And it's a dreary day. It's been kind of dreary all day. The sun only peeked out a couple of times. That's Willow back there. She's kind of afraid of the thunder. She's not afraid of the rain. That's Diamond, closer to the door. So I just want you guys to know if you hear a lot of hooping and hollering and banging, it's those two making a lot of noise because they're afraid of the thunder. So let's get back to our menu. It's been about 20 minutes that I've allowed this to boil, so I'm adding some diced onions. And I'm not going to put cilantro in this because I don't like to taste cilantro when I'm eating my soup. So after adding in those onions, those are going to cook till they're really, really soft. But I've peeled and just kind of quartered some potatoes. And you can make these in bite-sized pieces too if you want more diced. but I like it like this better so I can get a big piece in my bowl when I'm serving the soup. So I'm just putting these in because these are going to need a good 20 minutes to a half hour to cook. So the meat has already cooked for a good 20-25 minutes. So we're just going to put those in there so far. We haven't added any spice, no salt, no pepper, no nothing like that. And the other ingredient that we're going to add to this is going to be some cabbage. So I'm going to like wash that and dice it up into bite-sized pieces. And I'm not going to add too many other things after that. You can add any vegetables you like, but today for this chicken soup, I'm just going to add some cabbage along with what you see here, and we're going to serve it with white rice. So I need to get that pot going to make some white rice. While the soup and the white rice cook on the top of the stove, in the oven, I've got powder buns that I'm making to go with this meal today. Like I told you guys, I'm doing 2 shows in one because we're actually going to eat these 2 meals together. The soup is kind of light, and so later on we're going to be real hungry and we're going to want a snack, and the snack's going to be the powder buns. It's been a total of about 45 minutes since I've put all those ingredients, the thighs, the onions, the potatoes. The potatoes are almost to the point where they're going to start mashing away to nothing. And I'm going to put those bite-sized pieces of cabbage that I told you. It's just like a quarter of a cabbage that I just kind of diced up. This is not going to cook too long. We just kind of want it to steam. And the next ingredient I'm going to add is some diced up tomatoes. Or if you had those little cherry tomatoes, those would be awesome in this too right now. So I took 1 whole tomato and I just kind of diced it up into bite-sized pieces. And I dumped it in a pot here. We don't want that to be overdone either. So look at this big old pot of soup that we got, right? The only thing that's going to be added to this next is going to be some salt and some black pepper to my taste. So therefore it would be to your taste. I'm going to let this cook for about 5 more minutes. So here's the finished product. Our beautiful chicken soup. We have the big thigh. We've got potato right here, some cabbage, some tomato, and just our nice, wonderful, hot, steamy broth. And you can either serve this with a plate on the side of white rice, and then you can kind of spoon your soup on to that white rice. Or you could do like I do, and I just put like a half a pot spoon right here of white rice onto the side, and then I just kind of dip it in and eat my soup. I'm going to tell you guys how good it is. Let me blow on it. It's hot. This is so good. Now I have to go serve Joe some because he's waited patiently all evening for me to finish this little wonderful, wonderful soup, wonderful menu. You guys try it, okay? Especially on a rainy day. Today's Creole word of the day. It's not going to be a phrase or a proverb today, okay? It's going to be a word, maku. That's the word in Creole, maku. Don't ask me how to spell it because I don't know. Anyways, maku means like a person. And we usually say it in a phrase like, look pa maku. And it means like, look at her. You know, and it's usually with some kind of connotation like to say, oh, she thinks she's all that in a bag of chips. Jada just pointed at me. She said, you got it right on the head. So that word again is maku. So it's time to pair the soup with the powder buns. And this is our gorgeous menu of the day. Hot chicken soup with some wonderful Belizean powder buns. So here are our meals for the day. This is our wonderful chicken soup with white rice. And over here, we have the powder buns. And like I said, I'm not sure how many households in Belize used to do this, you know, but when I was growing up, this is what we would do when they would have the big bad storms. Not hurricanes per se, but just bad storms. And my grandmother would just enjoy chicken soup with white rice, and she would have to have these powder buns for later. If you guys pair this together, I promise you, you're gonna enjoy it. Well, I'm not sure if the microphone picked up all this awesome sound effect Mother Nature was giving me today with the thunder. But in any case, our soup came out awesome. It was tasty. It wasn't too spicy. I don't like my chicken soup to be too spicy because if it is, then you can't really enjoy it when you're sick, right? And of course, this soup can go for sickness, for, you know, when you're well, just for about anything. And we serve it with white rice, and of course we have potatoes, so that's another start. So it's actually going to keep me full kind of long, and we're going to eat our powder buns a little bit later. Did you guys hear the thunder? Wasn't that just awesome? I told you guys it was storming and raining and thunderstorm. Ooh, listen, listen. Kind of remind me of Belize, except we don't hear it on the zinc roof, right? Except for our little patio covering is kind of zinc, so we hear it out there. That's why we have the sliding door open. And plus it kept the dogs kind of calm. As usual, I thank you guys for watching the show, for subscribing to the show, for telling your friends and family about the show. And you guys are so awesome with your comments. You know, I try to get to all your comments. And I just really appreciate when you guys lift me up. I'm going to kick Jada because she's doing a rap sign. But anyways, thanks a lot, guys. Until I see you again, take care.